Hi, welcome to week 5 of the Birch Gnomes Quilt Along. I wanted to just get started this week by encouraging you, if you've not gotten those 24 gnome blocks and 24 birch tree blocks finished up yet, I bet you're getting close and you're almost there. So this week, let's go ahead and talk about getting your blocks sewn together into rows. For the sake of being able to hold up a little demonstration, I have sewn partial rows for you. The quilt pattern shows you the layout that you'll want your birch trees and gnomes to be arranged in. I am totally open to you making that pattern your own. If you would like to arrange your rows differently than I show, by all means go ahead and do so. I like to lay all of my blocks out on a floor or on my design wall in the rows that they need to be. And then I kind of play with my, mostly my gnome blocks for this quilt. And I get those darker colors so that they're spread out evenly throughout the quilt so that your eyes are kind of wandering around the quilt as you're looking at that finished product. So play with the layout and the arrangement that you want your blocks to go in. There'll be 8 blocks in 6 rows. So we'll be sewing 6 rows together this week. And that won't take you long at all. So if you have a few more of those gnome or birch tree blocks to get sewn together, you'll have some time this week to do one more quick little catch up. So like I said, I have sewn together partial rows just to go ahead and be able to demonstrate or show you how I want my pressing to go on the rows. There's a certain order that you'll want each row, the seams of each row to be pressed to. The seams I'm talking about are the seams between those gnome blocks and those birch tree blocks that you're sewing together to form the row. And so once you get your whole row sewn together, this is a partial from row 1, you're going to be pressing the seams of these rows in opposite directions. So if you want to think about rows 1, rows 3, and rows 5, those odd rows, you can go ahead and get the seams of those rows, let's see if I can show you here, all pressed to the right. And so this is pressed to the right, this seam right here is pressed to the right, and all of the other seams that I would have when I sew this entire row together. For row 1, row 3, and row 5, these seams get pressed to the right. For rows 2, rows 4, and row 6, you are going to be pressing those seams where you've sewn these blocks together to the left. And this way, when you are going to be assembling your quilt top next week, we'll talk about how to get your rows to nest together very nicely. So trust me on the pressing directions. Go ahead and have fun this week playing with the arrangement of your gnome and tree blocks into your rows and your overall quilt design that you'll see in the pattern or that you'll make up as you go. And next week, get them all pressed according to each row getting pressed in that opposite direction. And then next week is going to be our final week of the quilt along. And then we'll be talking about getting your rows sewn together to finish off that quilt top. And I'll give you a few extra tips on what you'll want to do next to get your quilt completely finished off. Have a great week, everyone.